Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode is the final episode that we finally waiting to get to, the last episode of the My Anime List 1989 Season 4. So this is the very, very last season, 1989. This is the final episode in this series, and this will finish off the entire years of the 1980s, okay? And so that means like after this, I'll be able to start going through and making the tier list of all the best animes of 1980 in a very concise and very sort of more complete format, not just a random list of someone's favorite things with their homerisms all in there. Okay, so this way, you'll actually go through every single title that's on these lists and basically do a very thorough go through of all the titles in the 1980s. Okay, so again, before I begin, I want to remind everyone we're approaching episode 250, and I'm going to be doing a anime giveaway volume 4. Okay, so I already posted a sneak preview of some of the cool things that are out there, some figures and posters and classy t-shirts and that kind of stuff already are on there. I'm going to get more things out and put those on the preview. So again, keep your eyes and basically make sure you've pressed like and subscribe. So I also like to thank those people who have also supported me in the past by adding donations in their giveaways from the previous ones, as well as the Patreon and the PayPal subscribers. Those are the people that have got access to the subscriber only episodes. Okay, I got one more left to do before the block of 10's already done, and then I'll release that in the next set. And again, I got all things that are I know which are really specific and not available on YouTube. Not because I said they either block me or it's restricted in any ways. So that's where I've now can put all of the that kind of content. So again, if you are planning to or you wish to, you might want to do so in the next little while for this month, because I will be giving all the subscribers and the supporters first dibs at all that stuff that's in the anime giveaway. So again, if you're thinking about it, this might be a good time to do that, right? Anyway, so today's topic is 1989, and again, this is a year where this I was really getting into anime. Trying to find all these different sources of anime. And later on, at the tail end of this year, I started getting together enough equipment to put together a subtitling system, however basic it was. I mean, it's just standard, cheap ass Amiga 500 with a Super Gen lock, and there was nothing really much to that. But at least that was enough to get me started. And we started doing some fan subs of various different sorts and experimenting with font size and just basically getting into the learning curve of how this fan subbing stuff actually works. So really exciting time, keeping an eye out on those new animes, because now we have this ability to that we've never had before. That we can work on these animes and get them to other people, and try to find new things that other anime fans would be interested in. And that's our start journey as we start into the 90s. Okay, but one more episode and we will begin that. All right, so I know you're excited, so let's begin. Check 1 2. Check. Okay, so we begin with the TV shows starting for this season. And again, right at the very top, really nice ones there. The Patlabor on TV. At this point, they've already released the Patlabor OVA series, which was, obviously really, really popular. So they decided, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make a TV series, and we're going to, elaborate on a bunch of episodes and that kind of stuff that they've done on the OVAs, as well as, produce new episodes. Now, when they released the Laserdisc for this, they call it the P series Laserdiscs. Okay, so what they did is they contained, one episode of the Patlabor OVA series, and then 3 episodes of the Patlabor TV series. And usually, the TV series episodes are kind of like, at least one of them anyway, is related to the OVA episodes. So, for example, I remember I think it was volume 13 or something. It was the alligator episode. I remember we made a special for one of our Douglas College community anime viewing showcases, right? Where the first episode was the OVA episode of the alligator that was caught in the sewer system, and then part two was the TV episode of that same kind of thing, where it was they had to go back into the sewer systems again, and that was then they re-encountered it again. That was sort of like the part one and part two, and we kind of put that together and made it sort of like a 1 hour like movie presentation sort of thing. So that was really, really cool. So Pat Labor, really a really good good mixers. I actually like that. And again, artwork of Kimi Takados is really good. And the second one here is the City Hunter 3 series. So again, after two really successful seasons of City Hunter, they decided, okay, yep, we're going to do after City Hunter 1, City 2, well, let's do City Hunter 3. Now again, this is a short series, so it was like a 13 episode short series. So it was again more episodes for those people who just love City Hunter. Okay, and the last one on the list here is Yawara. Okay, the last one on the list here is Yawara, and that's basically the fashionable judo girl. Now I know a few sort of people had this sort of thing in both Japanese Raw, and then I know later on in time, another one of the fan groups did some of the subtitling for this particular series. Um, you know, it was one of the earlier type of series, where they had this sort of thing. I have always thought that the artwork was rather, I guess I wouldn't say primitive, but it's just I just didn't dawn on me how good the artwork was on it or not. Anything. So I kind of really avoided that series. But it was all right. I mean, it's the adventures of Yawara and what she does and whatnot. And I guess it's sort of is the beginning of that sort of anime made for girls type of thing. I guess. And it's still a little bit early, so I guess it's sort of having a problem to catch on. And this one of the ones that didn't do as well. At least until we get into the later ones, we start getting into things like the magical girl shows that we started working on, because this is still before that era, even before even things like Revolutionary Girl Utena, for example, things like that, Marmalade Boy and things like that is another kind of series that kind of came in mind. But that, again, before that era, Yawara was one of the ones that sort of popped up. Okay, so we move on with more TV shows here. We have Jungle Book with Haru Salesman and Jungle Tyson. Well, so again, these are basically remakes of essentially other works. For example, Jungle Book, obviously, from the Disney Jungle Book kind of thing, and of course, Jungle Tyson. Basically, we know that as Kimba the White Lion, right? At this time, no one really knew what Jungle Book, the TV series, was again. So that was not very widely distributed over here in North America. So that was pretty much kind of one of those lost titles, even though it was had a sort of a famous sort of back to it. Kimba, on the other hand, there was a series that some people got onto and tried to get released and whatnot. Again, still early stages, and only much later in time we got episodes of that. I never really got into this series. I knew that some of it was available, and and a lot of people were sort of really interested in Kimba, just the same way I think as I'm not really interested in Astro Boy, but I know that a lot of people have got their start in that. So that was to a lot of people their first animes and that kind of stuff. I remember watching the occasional Astro Boy episode during Saturday morning cartoons and that kind of stuff time. But again, it's one of those ones that I didn't realize it wasn't anime, and I never followed up on it to watch any more of it or anything. Just because I just never really got into that type of series, especially when there's all the other kind of the material available which was better than it. Okay, so the next one is a rather interesting. Oh, okay, this one ended up translating, and I remember on the list as enemies pirates. Okay, now this is really strange because this was, in my memory, it was an OVA series. It's only 6 episodes long, so I don't know why they listed it as a TV show. Maybe they actually broadcasted it or something. But I'm looking at mine listed, and it doesn't show an air date. So I think they got this in the wrong spot. But no, this is definitely like a short, really OVA series, 6 episodes, and the artwork was pretty good on it. It's just a production IG thing, right? So it's high quality sort of a thing, and you'll see lots of good production IG stuff later on. Um, but it was I thought it was a really good kind of a good series. We didn't translate it or anything. I remember again another fan subbing group sort of got into it and did all this the translation for this particular thing, and it was pretty popular. Sort of title. It was fairly well widely known and distributed. And again, I don't know why it's listed as a TV show, but that's again that was one that was worth checking out. Whole Sky High Sally or Magical Girl Sally 2. So this is a continuation of an older series called Magical Sally Girl Sally. Again, didn't follow this series, and again, this is obviously a continuation of an earlier type series. The only sort of other exposure I got to this was from that anime metal medley that I have posted up on my channel here, and did a little work where the band anime metal, which basically plays songs and heavy metal speed, did a part of their song in the medley, which has Magical Sally. And again, this is the reference to that particular part of the song. And thinking, don't know what that is, and I've never heard that one. So let's continue onwards. Okay, we move on to these last three, which no one's really known anything about these ones. So we'll just skip over these, and these are the last ones for the TV shows. So we move on to the TV shows that are continuing from the last season. And again, I'm not going to cover them in this particular episode. Obviously, you want to go back and check out my season 3 video, and that will cover these episodes in much better detail. But you can just see, I just want to point out that, look at the competition that these new episodes and TV shows are going against. They're going against Dragon Ball Z and Ranma 1/2 and Heaven Wars Shirato. I mean, like, these are already really good shows already and long, right? So you got already like an audience that already is occupied with watching these particular shows, and then all of a sudden you're giving them these new titles like Sinner 3. Wow, there's more stuff that you want to watch, because again, usually when people are watching Dragon Ball, they're also watching Sinner and that kind of stuff. But you're trying to get them interested in these all these other shows, and they got to go against Ranma. It's like these are really occupying a lot of people's time. So, you got pretty stiff competition at this time for TV shows. Anyway, so we'll continue onwards to the OVAs. Okay, so with the OVAs here, we have Shin, Captain Sabasa, so the new Captain Sabasa. Again, based off of the soccer, again, we used to know it as Soccer Boy, but Japanese soccer thing. And so this is the next series for that particular show. So they said of making it more TV episodes, they decided to just make a short OVA series, 30 episodes, see how it goes. Maybe they can make another TV show out of it, but in this case, they just added some more extension episodes for it. So 13 more episodes of that. B-Boy, okay, so this one is again, strangely positioned, but all right. A one-shot deal, okay. In terms of what I thought it was, in terms of a kind of a musically, kind of OVA, I thought the OVA Toy was better in terms of a band and the things that has to do and the relationships and that kind of stuff in there. I thought Toy was better, musical and Toy was better. This is a Shonen I title, okay, so not quite gay stuff, but it's getting there. There's other shows like I can think of like Kazuna and all that stuff, which are probably more on that thing. Zetsuai was another one, where this Shonen I stuff really goes into more detail. But again, that sort of genre was really, kind of ignored. Not a lot of people, wanted the stuff. No one cared. This is again one shot, so they didn't really do anything to, to build on a character and make more of a story. It's just sort of they almost threw it out there, and obviously didn't do well enough to make more episodes. So they just kind of, they left it at that. Um, and of course, the last one, and very important one, is the first series of Ease. So 7 episodes series based off the video game, the same name. And again, Issa, was a really big name in the role-playing games era right now. Again, a lot of the, early Famicom games and that kind of stuff had chapters to Issa and whatnot. And this one, of course, just brings in that whole lore of Adol and that kind of stuff, and I thought it was really, really nice. And again, I know that the Happy Console Gamer really supports this particular series as well, and the Totes East is very, very great. And again, it's a nice, very, very nice story, being one of the very first sort of RPG games that we had on the game consoles. Definitely worth a good check out on that. Okay, moving onward, we got Midnight I Goku #2. So this is a continuation of the first series, OVA for Goku. I really like this one because I like the artist. He does Buchi Terasawa, which is the guy who does Space Cobra, and so really like more of that kind of stuff. Just a nice bit of action, really well drawn, and just a little bit of smut to help taste it up, and it was really really well done. Okay, the next one, of course, is the final installment for the Project A-ko series. Well, we shouldn't really say because they made more afterwards. But in terms of the the movie kind of thing, even though they didn't list this as a movie, they listed this as an OVA because it's less than an hour long. So the Project A-ko 4 final movie. So again, more if you like that that fun that they've already had, this the girl love triangle thing going on here, then this is the final sort of installment of that. And you can kind of just see, just kind of just sort of reflect back a little bit here. When we're talking about girl on girl action, no problem, lots of that. They're pretty fine with that, and they have lots of things that movies, OVAs, and that kind of stuff for that. But when you get into like guy stuff like in Bebop, nah, one shot, throw it away. No one wants it. That's it, right? And again, you got to remember that this is 89, so this is like before the 80s essentially, right? And that is the climate of the particular decade, right? So you just gotta understand that. And the last one here is Sigard. Okay, I mean, for the most part, this is literally like Bio Booster Guyver, essentially. This is again another one-shot throwaway episode, and basically, it has the premise of essentially kind of a mixture between maybe let's say Incredible Hulk and Guyver, I guess. But I mean, it's essentially that, and I guess a lot of people just saw it that way, and then, so they only made the one episode of it. Okay, so the next set is Assemble Insert. So this is a really fun one again. Daisuke really gravitated to this one. Again, this is done by the Pat Labor production crew. So again, Pat Labor TV series, just hot on the presses right now, and they just finished doing the Pat Labor OVA series. So this is their opportunity to release this short OVA. Quite a fun sort of thing, right? It's basically let's put a girl superhero in in an idol sort of situation, right? So it's not too different than so let's say something like Idol Defense Force Hummingbird. But yeah, it's a cool series, 2-shotter, so it's really easy to do, and again, it was one of the popular series that when we were doing Pat Labor. This came out, and we really enjoyed doing that one as well. Aoki Hano. Now this one was depicted as one of those horror, kind of horror sex type of OVAs. I've never actually seen this one, but the thing that I remember is more it was based on the manga, and the manga had that Yorotsuka Doji overfiend look to it. So it wasn't really, shall we say, well, well drawn and well, nice looking kind of anime, but it does have that it was trying to experiment and try to do the, let's have a basic story, let's throw some smut into it a little bit, and then just sort of, hopefully that will sell. Again, one-shotter, it was, a throwaway episode again. But maybe that was the learning experience for maybe something further on in the future, for something like, Overfiend or whatever, when, when they kind of, clean that up. Suit and Doji, almost in the same realm actually. The battle with the Onis and and that kind of stuff, and whatnot. But the thing about this one is this is Go Nagai. Okay, so the guy brought you Cutie Honey and Devil Man and all this other stuff. But again, throwing a little bit of kind of monster gore type of thing, and a little bit of blowing off all the clothes off the girls. And yeah, that's this is the perfect mix, right? So again, not considered hentai, just just a little bit of that a skin to add the flavor, as it were. But yeah, quite good. Yeah. Okay, so the next set of OVAs here is the Golf Force Earth chapter. Some real Golf Force as well, I guess. And this is nice for all those people who like the Golf Force, because this is sort of like the new say the similar type characters, including Caddy in a way, I guess. But now, of course, in a new sort of environment and that kind of stuff. And I know Daisuke didn't really like it, and so that's why we didn't really translate it. And we, at this time, we sort of already knew that the original Golf Force was already kind of pending licensing. So we kind of said, well, if they're going to license it, then they're going to probably license this as well. So why bother subtitle it, because it'll shortly come out. So no big deal, right? But definitely for the people who did like Golf Force, this is more of that for you. I didn't. I liked the first three Golf Forces more than I like these ones. Maybe just because it had that sort of Battlestar Galactica kind of feel to it, I guess, and that was good. And that's my own personal preference. But as I said, some people did like this one, so that was again, more continuation for Golf Force. The next one is Demon Hunter Yama. This one was a really cool one. So this is the lone female warrior that's basically going out and destroying the other demons and all these other things like that. And it was, we did do the fan stuff for this. I do have the lasers for this one, and I thought it was pretty cool. But it is only kind of a one-shotter thing, right? So I guess they never really made any more of this, or didn't sell very well. But I thought it was a pretty good story, pretty action kind of thing. Kind of I guess you can kind of say it based on that Vampire Princess Mew type of thing. That same kind of story. The vampire getting killing the other vampires and other things like that. So that's kind of cool. And the last one here is the Samurai Troopers, the OVAs. Okay, so again, this is for those people who just finished watching the TV series and and want more episodes. So here's just like a 3 OVA set for that thing. Again, it was quite well made. Again, I think they missed the audience for this particular one. For example, because at this time they were going against Saint Seiya, and right, they're trying to make these guys that in modern day fighting forces or whatever, using their special armors and that kind of stuff. But the toy line for Saint Seiya basically won out, because again, I think people thought that the armor and that kind of stuff is more different and more unique and elaborate on Saint Seiya, so that they probably sold way better. Samurai Troopers, I know didn't do as well in the toy line and that kind of stuff. And even though they aimed the TV series for the male audience, I think the thing that ended up being the bigger thing is that the female audience preferred the Seiyu band and that kind of stuff. So a really huge following on the female side. And again, so that's what sort of totally missed its mark on that. But it did signal the notion that we should pay attention to the female audience, to the other half of the audience, for sales, and make some animes for them too. and that you'll see when we go into the 90s. Some people start doing corrections for that. All right, so moving onwards, we got three titles here. The only really significant one of these three is the Ace and Mirai final stage. So this is the top of the Ace, which is the tennis story, and this is finally the final OVA, the final chapter for that series. So they finally got completed on this one there. It keeps getting better on each one of those things. But still not my style. But definitely the animation is getting better and better as they keep making them. Although on those, and the other two are not significant titles. Okay, so continue on the line here. Some questionable titles here. Okay, so we got the Dog Soldier. Now this is totally a useless title. It's just another kind of a Rambo knockoff almost. Like it's that military guy has to go back to whatever. It's like, okay, has to take this mission. It's like, okay, this is like literally very Rambo-esque. Okay, been told over and over again. One shot deal. The next one is Yumi no Yami Ski no Kage. Okay, now again, the way that I remember it being written on the lists and whatnot was Darkness of the Sea and Shadow of the Moon. And another one of these starting up shoujo titles, right? The two girls are interested in the same guy, and somehow they worked on these psychic powers, and they're the whole the triangle got more complicated and whatever, right? A three-shot thing in an era where again shoujo hasn't really found its place yet, so and I didn't really find this show very interesting. I think in our fan subgroup finally got some of it on VHS, and it did get passed on a little bit. But yeah, so that's another early shoujo type title. And the last one here is the apartment of Tokyo. So, the the picture looks really interesting, but I never seen this OVA. And probably because of the fact that, like I said, the artwork on it is kind of questionable. Again, the male character is drawn really well, very, very hysterical, cool, facial features and that kind of stuff. It made it really messy looking. Even the female characters, are reasonably done, but like nothing significant. No famous artwork and that kind of stuff. To me, it even has that sort of almost Lupin the Third Monkey Punch sort of look to it. Characters and that kind of stuff, have that look, but it's not, it's not in the credits, obviously, and the splash of more smut to make it very good, and and it was one of the early ones of this particular nature, and so I guess in that respect, it was all right, but the art style just didn't do it for me. So I just said, okay, well, that just was not only hard to get, it's just I wasn't really interested in it. Okay, moving along to the next titles. The only really simple ones I can see here right away is the next second one here, which is Lock the Superman. Chojin Lock. That one was a short roll OVA series. It was a fairly neat sort of short OVA series of OVAs. Kind of reminded me of like Cosmo Police Justy. Basically a person that has different sort of psychic powers and abilities and that kind of stuff. It was actually pretty popular even without the subtitles and that kind of stuff. It was traded around a lot. So it was, and pretty good animation quality. Slightly different character design, but it still was pretty well done. Next one was one that I was interested in. This is the God Beast Dan Cougar. This is the Blazing epilogue, so the conclusion to the TV series for Dan Cougar, before the movie, I guess. And so this one was again long awaited because the TV series didn't end properly. So they kind of this is what they made for that series. And so again, so all the people waiting for that conclusion, a lot of people like that. And again, thank you is one of these types of series where it's the machine is trying to save the Earth, sort of thing. Very much the same as at this time the Earth is in danger, and the only thing that can to save the Earth is whatever these guys create this machine that they built, and I guess the same way as Genesis climber Mospeada. Same way where the aliens come and they take over the Earth, and they find this way to beat them back and win back the Earth idea. So a lot of those types of shows were sort of had that theme at this time. Okay, so I've noticed I hit the 30-minute mark already, so this is a pretty long episode and a lot of OVAs and stuff to cover. So we just move along here. There's nothing recognizable in the third row here, so we're just gonna quickly bypass that and continue. Okay, and the last bit of the OVAs here, and there's nothing significant in the OVAs here. Okay, so we're just gonna speed ahead to the movies now. Okay, well this makes it easy. There's only one movie really that's pretty good use, and that is Garuga. Now, saying as much, this is not actually a very good movie, but okay. I mean, this is literally like Flash Gordon, kind of. Ship kind of crashes on a planet, and like everyone's fighting each other, and like weird psychic people and weird corrupt people and all this other stuff, kind of going at it, and yeah, try to cram all that into like a little bit more than an hour. It's good. Yeah, it's a formula for disaster. So yeah, this you only have one choice. So I guess this is your movie. I guess. Well, anyway, yeah. If you have nothing better to watch, I guess this could be something entertaining and laughable, I suppose. Okay, and now the short TV special. They made well, I guess the only one that's significant is the Heavenward Shirato recaps. So I guess for those people who are so lazy they can't watch the TV series and just want kind of a Cole's notes or super summary version of the show, here you go. You know, kind of take the episodes and that kind of stuff, and we'll kind of recap them together from and kind of summarize them for you in short form here. Yeah, I don't know who watches that kind of stuff. It's sort of like, if you're gonna watch it, why not watch the whole series? I think this is obviously for these people who's just really lazy and just don't want to watch it, and just kind of like, here, either rent it or I guess they put this as a TV special. So, in theory, you could watch this 30-minute special to get like the summary of the whole entire 30 episode series or whatever in this little tiny 30-minute episode, right? So yeah. I guess if you really like Shadow, that does help. Other than that, yeah, nothing else is really significant in the OVA. So yeah, we're already pretty late in this thing, but we'll still go through the best ofs. So we'll start with TV shows. They're really, I mean, I can't even do a top three. I mean, Yawara I don't consider to be of that same kind of level or caliber of show that everyone should really take a look at. So really, of the shows that you should need to pay attention to is the Pat Labor on TV series and the City Under 3. Those are the only two TV shows of note for this particular season. So if you're going to watch something, just watch those two. Again, and obviously, if being a fan of City Hunter, obviously you'd want to watch City Hunter 3 to get more episodes. And Pat Labor, again, hot off the presses from, the Pat Labor movie, the Pat Labor OVAs. They finally released this TV series. A lot of people were expecting and waiting for that. So definitely, those would be your choices for TV shows. Okay, as for movies, well, there is only really one movie of significance, which is Gattaca, and I wouldn't even recommend that one. So let's just say for movies, there are none. So move on to OVAs. Now OVAs, there's a good number of them, and and this there's several sort of notable type titles and whatnot that are in there. But I'll limit it to a best 5. Okay. My highest recommendation for sure is going to be East, the OVA series. Again, nice, complete sort of story. Again, based off a very famous game franchise, very popular, RPG sort of franchise. Um, Very good. The next one I would recommend is basically Assemble Insert. Personal favorite, of course, but in terms of an OVA, that's sort of fun. It was, it has a lot of comedy. It's lighthearted, and and in this era of this of these many different types of shows, it was really good. And again, done by the guys who did Pat Labor Union. You can even get a kind of a Goto, Commander Goto type of characters, kind of feeling there, which is kind of neat. Okay, so yeah, definitely Semblancer was a good fun one. The other one that, of course, is in that same kind of class and caliber of my personal preference is Demon Hunter Yama. Again, only a one-shotter, but just because I was really interested in Vampire Princess Mew, and the same concept sort of kind of popped up. We did the fan subs for it. It's just for a short one-shotter. It was a nice show. Okay, animation is pretty good. Definitely recommend those ones. And then the last two is also in the kind of the same kind of genre, I guess you can say. I would recommend the Midnight I Goku number 2. Again, if you followed number 1, you know what to expect. Again, the same sort of formula that we expected from Fujisawa. Space Cobra with the sexy robots and that kind of stuff. Again, Goku continues on with the little bit of smut that helps in that. And so definitely a good recommendation there. And of course the last one is Shoten Doji. Now typically I don't really like all types of Go Nagai stuff. Like, for example, I don't like the original Devilman, for example. And the other things, Cutie Honey, sure, okay. Shooting Doji again, although I don't like how the males are drawn, but the female characters are passable, and the story and the animation quality is really good. So I this is one of the ones I would definitely recommend, especially for the ones that if you're trying to pick and choose which different sort of Go Nagai type stuff to get. This is definitely one of the ones I would go for. And as I said, as I do more of these, you'll see which ones in the Go Nagai franchise that I do like, and I'll pick. But then there's other ones that I'll stay away from. But this one I definitely recommend. So for your top 5 in the OVA section, East, Assemble Insert, Double Hunter Yama, Midnight I Goku, and Shoten Doji. So again, if you have a limited amount of time and you just want to cut through the chase and get to the good ones, these are the ones I would go with. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. And now we've got all the information needed to list out, and let's tier list all the animes of 1980s, okay? Starting from 88 all the way to 89. We're going to go through and do all the different, sort of best ofs, and see if sort of rank them and where they kind of sit, So basically, again, if you don't have time to watch all these animes and whatnot, then we'll at least come up with a list of various ones that you should look at, and then basically save you some time, and then just sort of go from there, right? Just for those people who just want to go glancing through these things and see where anime kind of or orchestrated. At least that way you get the cream of the crop, as it were. Okay, so definitely want to stay tuned for that, as well as again the upcoming anime giveaway is also coming up. So want to keep your eyes on that one in the next little while. Pretty exciting month of January. All right, so I will catch you next time. All right, so. Until then, I will see you again.